my screen. Her smile, it shines so bright. She's a queen with every scene. In the morning or the night, recipes and good vibes flow. Every video a gem. Her confidence, it grows and grows. We're inspired like her friends. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where we all belong. With every like and every share, we feel her energy. No storm too strong she can't bear. She's setting us all free. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Recipes and good vibes flow. Every video a gem. Her confidence, it grows and grows. We're inspired like her friends. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where we all belong. Every share, we feel her energy. No storm too strong she can't bear. She's setting us all free. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where we all belong.
Petals got power, Florabella stands tall. Every drip, every drop, watch the haters fall. Channel sharp as thorns, ain't taking no mess. Scroll through her feet, feel that queen's finesse. Vines tangle tight, but Flora breaks free. Roots so deep, can't mess with her tree. From the mud she rises, roses from the dirt. Every comment section she lays down hurt. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolving, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong and relentless. Beauty in battle, queen sure defenseless. From the garden green to the concrete wall, Florabella, unstoppable nature's child. Leaves whisper secrets, she's the loudest shout. From the channel buzzing, she never backs out. Seed of strength, through seasons she grows. In the face of doubt, her spirit glows. Cameras ain't a limit, she branches out. Thorns in her crown, she wears it no doubt. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolving, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong and relentless. Beauty in battle, queen sure defenseless. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolving, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong and relentless. Beauty in battle, queen sure defenseless.
Alrighty, friends, alrighty. What is going on, everybody? What's going on, everybody? Everybody. Hello. Hi, Miss Victorious One. We had Daniel Berry Sports. We've got Hassan in the building. And, of course, everyone dwelling in the clouds in the chat quietly. Do me a favor, guys. If you can just hit the like button. It's free. It don't cost a thing, right? It don't cost a thing. right? Because we're going to get into this update today. So if you guys can just do me the favor of supporting and liking the show, okay? We're really going to get into just some of the updates that have happened over the last few days. We've got more information. Footage is being explained. Dots are being connected. I'm seeing videos pop up there of some type of look-alike, right? So we're going to get into all that has kind of gone on in the last couple of days with Celeste Reeves Hernandez. Now, let me just give you guys a quick update here. One thing that a lot of people forget, and I heard someone say this in their stream the other day, and I was like, this is something a lot of people forget. But one very important thing that people forget is that investigations take time, right? Investigations take a significant amount of time. They don't happen overnight. They require DNA evidence and things that take months to come back. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not an overnight process. It's generally going to take some time before the police get answers, before police get the information they need, before they even have enough evidence gathered to put handcuffs on somebody, right? It takes a lot of time. So the internet, though, is asking for answers a lot quicker than answers generally come. But that being said, I'm certainly going to be here to kind of go over some of the new stuff. I see something mentioned about possibly doing a panel. I think if I do a panel, I will close this down, open up a new stream, and the topic for that panel would be older men seeking out young girls and the problem with that in our society. So if anything, I would open it up, but it would be a different stream. I don't want to do vertical for that, because I just think it's not the same as panel discussions, conversations. So if anything, that'll be a late night show that I'll do later. So definitely, stick around if you're interested in that. But let's get into some of the updates. Now, before I get into the videos and we kind of review some of what Law and Crime, Ashley Banfield, people who cover true crime, what they're saying about this, what information has come out and things like that. So one of the main things that I wanted to share with you all was something that I discovered about David's personality that makes this case, his music, the similarity in her deletion, all very, very interesting. All right, I'm gonna kind of get into a little bit of what some people have put together, and it's the fact that David was having caskets and false memorials, right, at his shows. So what does this tell you about a person? This tells you that David likely had a fascination with death, right? He kind of has a gothica look, got the black nail polish and all this. Victorious once said, older men seeking younger girls, underage girls, right? I don't even want to use the word ladies there, because a lot of the times it's girls this age and younger. You know what I'm saying? So it's very disturbing, everything that's going on. But if I do open it up for conversation, it will be that, and it'll be on a regular stream. It won't be a vertical stream. I'm trying to keep these to like subjects and like kind of what a show would look like. Hey, Joanne Jenkins, how are you? How are you this evening? I hope you had a great Tuesday, a great Taco Tuesday. All right, but we're going to get into this show here. So if you've been following the Celeste Reeves case, then you probably will already have heard some of this information. But this information is coming out as early as this past weekend. All right, so David's casket videos received new attention amid the investigation into a dead body found in Tesla. All right, his Tesla, obviously, you guys know, last week broke the internet. There was a body of a 14-year-old missing girl there. And so what they essentially kind of busted open at that point was a lot of weird connections. They found out that David was connected to Celeste not only through her body being in this vehicle, but through his Discord or somebody by the name of Celeste, through streams, through a lot of different things. And so since all of that has come out, the internet is doing its thing, right? The internet is going out there and it's pulling and it's pulling and it's pulling receipts. These receipts disturbed me the most, all right? So stay tuned. So pretty much, yeah, everyone is in Sleuth mode, and they're kind of digging deeper into David's history. Right? Hit the like button as you come in. Thank you. Yes, Victorious One. Thank you so much. Absolutely, guys. Hit the like button for me. I'll appreciate it. I know you're doing very good today. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. And I hope everyone else who's joining me as you get off work, right? Hopefully, you guys are cracking open a ginger ale with some tacos, or maybe you got a jarrito, whatever you're doing on your Taco Tuesday. Hopefully, you guys are getting ready to wind down and sort of get into this show. All right, let me make this a little bit bigger because for some reason you guys can't see the font, and I really want you all to see the font. Okay, here we go. So we're going to make it just a little massive just so you guys can read it. All right, so, oh, that's a little too big. We'll back it up a little bit. There you go. All right, so recently surfaced footage, most of which appears to date back to July and August, seemingly shows the use of a prop casket in connection with David's shows. Given the circumstances of the towed Tesla case, which as of this writing doesn't have a suspect, some online users zeroed in on the clips while also pointing out selections from the Withered artist's catalog. Right, so there's music that is connecting him and his fascination with death and his pathology. All that. It's connecting all of that now as people go back and look at it. Now I'm going to tell you guys, I'm one of those people who didn't know who the hell David is. I had no clue who he is. I mean, I think 10-year-olds were listening to him at this point. All right, so there's a casket, wreath, notepad, and pencils to write a letter to the deceased, reads the text of a short video shared by TikTok user Malina. So let's put this here. And now there's a lot more TikTok videos. Honestly, if I had the stomach for TikTok, I would probably show you guys more. But here's one of them. Oh, sorry, guys.
Now, why does the artist do that?
So, obviously, a regular person is like, huh?
Now, why does the artist do that?
What is he memorializing, right? And this is one of the things that I try to understand myself, right? Sam said he said he got his Red Bull. Yes, please do have your Red Bulls, your coffees, whatever it is that you need to give yourself a little afternoon boost. Absolutely grab it. All right, now I'm gonna play this video over again because it's really 4 seconds long. It's not very long, but this is the entrance to one of his shows in July of this year. Now, what do you guys think happened in July, right? That he's memorializing.
Now, why does the artist do that?
Right, just kind of really weird. Let's see this one here. In a memorial for Itami inside his San Francisco show. So this is multiple locations where he's setting it up. Obviously, it looks like it's for romantic red rum. That's the name of his song. But again, what is his fascination with this? I mean, this is going a little bit too far. Right? You write a song about romantic deletion. Okay, right? There's some irony in it. There's something in the music that's supposed to be symbolic of a death, but this is literally fixated on the actual death. So what is his fixation with death? I mean, it's a little weird. But let's watch the romantic homicide, right? You're looking at this like, oh, you're memorializing the relationship. But why a casket, right? Inside of the casket should be something. But I don't know, these weird emo artists these days, I don't know. You guys tell me. Maybe I'm overlooking it. I'm starting to think it's not that bad, right? It's just a casket. But it's still something morbid about making this part of your show, right? Maybe this is his way of thinking that it's creativity. Victorious One says, I got my bubbly lemon lime seltzer chat. Refreshing. Ooh, that sounds really good, actually. I can use one of those. It sounds good. Just put some Red Bull in it, right? Maybe this is something that the morbid kind of emo artists tend to do. Look at this, guys. TikTok just be going.
At this point, it is guilty until proven innocent, because why was he dropping Easter eggs every step of the way? On September 7th, David announced that he would be dropping a brand new album with 15 songs on it. But keep in mind, September 7th was the day that Celeste turned 15 years old. He also made this post last year on TikTok saying, who had the best outfit in 2016? And look at the comments.
The problem is Celeste didn't turn 15 years old. Right? Just like we've been hearing in many clips, Celeste never made it to 15.
Please adopt me.
her body,
saying, "Who?"
oh, sorry, I'll let him talk in a second. But her body was severely decomposed, right? She never made it to 15, but unfortunately, because we don't even know the circumstances of when she actually passed, right? We're waiting on something with David and the investigation surrounding him, right? To point us in the right direction of the timeline of her death. I don't know, but let's see.
Had the best outfit in 2016. And look at the comment. Please adopt me, I need it. At 0907. Should we? That's September 7th. So it seems like this might have been Celeste's burner account. And if you look at his Discord chat, someone asked, David, are you happily married or single? Me and at deleted user got a kid on the way. And you might think this could be anybody. This doesn't prove anything. But this same user has a ring on the finger and a tattoo or maybe just pen, but it says David right here. And that's not it. Look at the song Decide by David that was dropped in 2022. It says, I know what the problem is. Save your tears, 7 years. I know life is complicated. In 2022, Celeste was 11 years old. 7 years until she was 18. The case is over. It's wraps.
Lord.
Lock him.
Wow. That is so creepy. I'm not even gonna lie. That is so creepy. And the thing is, people don't understand. There's levels to Pedialites, right? To PDF files, whatever you want to call them. There's pure, straight up PDF files, straight up just attracted to children. There's Heba files or hebephiles, whatever it is. They're attracted to young children who are maturing, who are at the age of puberty and things like that, right? It's levels. And it appears that even though he was a young teen himself, he was dealing with way younger than him, right? A 17-year-old, 16-year-old, 15-year-old isn't going to be talking to an 11-year-old girl, right? That's just doesn't make any sense. There's nothing normal about that. And yeah, she was found severely decomposed to the point where they have put her time of death, cause of death, not inconclusive. They put deferred, meaning they still have to keep doing testing. They have to keep analyzing the body to still figure out what actually happened to her because it was that decomposed. All right. So in this song, he's saying, decide, save your tears, 7 years, right? In 2022, like he said, Celeste would have been 11 years old. In 7 years, she would be 18, meaning the legal age, right? This is one thing people have to understand. These types of predators, the reason why they're so hush and they're grooming for so long is because they have to convince this young person to A, keep it quiet, and B, to be constantly seeking after it. So it's like they're planting eggs and things in their mind with everything that they say to the child. Dropping music like this, putting her name in a song, but it's an unreleased song, but then it's just her name, and it's something that it's so outlandish, most people wouldn't think. This song isn't connected to a 11-year-old, 12-year-old, 13, 14, however old she was, girl, right? And he's able to hide in plain sight. Think about her teacher, right? She's telling her teacher what's going on. Imagine if her teacher didn't believe anything, didn't advocate for her, right? People would be like, oh, wow, he didn't care. But this, not only did his teacher, but other people around have actually spoke up about him. But who would really believe that this young girl was being pursued by a millionaire, overnight celebrity, essentially, right? All right, let's continue. I'm going to move on back to the casket videos here because there was quite a few, right? Some people are saying that it's a little bit of an exaggeration. It doesn't show any morbidity in him. But just think about why he would have this in the opening of his show, right? So now this next one here, he's arriving to a show. And again, it's in reference to the song Romantic Homicide. So I get it, right? Why wouldn't he have some type of corpse involved situation? But look how he pulls up. Like, what is this? This is his introduction to the show. Walking in with a bunch of pallbearers, memorializing some corpse, whatever corpse. What's the corpse that where's the artistry in this? Like, there's nothing artistic or creative about bringing in a casket because the name of the song is Romantic Homicide. I mean, it's just so strange. Same, this is multiple angles of them recording on several shows, him setting the stage where a casket is being pulled out. Yeah, you can see this is a different place because look, they're coming out that way and they're rolling this one in. It's just so strange that he was doing these things at his concerts. We saw this one, he set up the memorial, right? Why would David even do anything like this, right? Is this a very creative way of expressing a fascination with death? Does this prove that he did anything wrong, right? Let's look into this video here. This next one is where Court TV is analyzing all the evidence that we've seen so far about David and asking the question, is he being unfairly convicted in the media? Do we have enough information to prove that he was involved in this case? Now, if you ask me, I would say enough information for a search warrant of every property he owns, all his telephone records, his company's telephone record, their Discord records. I mean, they should be able to seize all of that information. And if they haven't already, there's a problem, right? His money is protecting him, or there's information we don't know. Now, I do think that they're acting like he's not a suspect to see what he's going to do. But don't let me speak for it, right? Let's see. Is he actually being unfairly convicted in the media?
So that is singer David performing Where Did It Go Wrong from his debut album, Withered. Now, the 20-year-old singer went from recording songs in his sister's closet to grabbing millions of followers on social media. But now he's finding himself at the center of far more serious circumstances after the body of a missing 15-year-old girl was found in the trunk of his Tesla. As the investigation continues, his remaining tour dates in the U.S. and Europe have been removed from ticketing websites. Now, earlier this month, the decomposing body of 15-year-old Celeste RIVAS Hernandez was located inside of a Tesla registered to the singer in Los Angeles. It was discovered after somebody noticed.
Now, we're going to go over some evidence there, but keep a picture of her face, right? Keep a picture of what she actually looks like. I mean, this girl is obviously in this picture 13 or so, 14. But she has a pretty distinct face where you can kind of recognize her if you see her again, right? She has a very like a specific look. Her hair, it's very identifiable. Just pay attention to that, and as we review some of the evidence that's been coming out over time, see if there's differences, comparisons in the different videos that we're going to see between her and David. Thank you so much, Girl Dad Cooking Up Deliciousness. He says hit the like button if you haven't already. Please do so, guys. It's cheap, it's free o'clock, free 99. All right, let's get into it.
Noticed a foul stench coming from that impounded vehicle. Now, police have not said that Davis is in any way connected to Rivas's death at this point in time. But that certainly hasn't stopped the mass speculation going on internet chat rooms. So, have social media sleuths unfairly convicted David? Let's talk about it. Let's bring back in our legal egos, Mario Gallucci and Matt Timpani, and welcome in entertainment commentator Holland Reed. All right, so Hal, let me start with you here. The social media world is buzzing about this case with this performer who started on TikTok. For anybody who's unfamiliar with him, like I admittedly was, it was TikTok where he really started gaining a following. And then from there, I had one big hit that we know of that went mainstream and got radio play. So a lot of young people very familiar and doing a lot of speculating. Holland, is it too much? Has it been a conviction already in the court of public opinion, do you think?
I don't know if it's too much or a conviction, but the timeline is just not adding up. And there is a lot of, I would say, my armchair detectives out there, like as am I, that are just, something's not adding up here. It's just a bizarre and really, really disturbing case. One of his songs, ironically, that is a big hit is called Romantic Homicide. And so that's got people in a buzz. We've got the timeline of, yes, she did go missing in April of 2024. Her remains not being found until almost a year and a half later, him reporting the car. And then I think more so, if we knew the timeline or how long the body had been decomposing, it will start to put those pieces of the puzzle together for a lot of people. But it just doesn't seem to make sense. We know that allegedly the mother of Celeste said that she had a boyfriend named David. We know.
And it's interesting that she gets on and spends that much time kind of getting off all the information we know. But here's the thing. In crime, there is no such thing as coincidences, right? They talk about how coincidences are really circumstantial evidence. Evidence that can point to a truth but can't necessarily give it to you definitively. And a lot of the information that we have right now is very circumstantial. They're not going to put out their smoking gun, right? Especially not while they haven't even made him a suspect, but they have made the apartment and other things related to him, subject to search and things like that. Now, the technology that they've taken out of his house and other things that can be related to the bodyguard, right? I've seen that idea floating around that the bodyguard could possibly be the one involved, and that's why belongings and things like that are being taken out of the house that was rented on his behalf, but not by him, right? There's some little talk going on there. Yes, hi, girl dad. I hope you're enjoying the show, and I hope everyone in the chat is also enjoying the show. A like is free, so if you can give me one, I will greatly appreciate it. Helps the channel get into the algorithm, and it helps me join the other crime community shows when you guys like and push me in that crime algorithm. All right, so let's get into this.
They said that they had matching tattoos, shush, on their index finger. He posted about a girl named Celeste. There's a lot of things going on there, that there's a connection between the both of them. Whether or not that involves a homicide or a dismembered body in the back of his Tesla that he had something to do with, that remains to be seen.
Right, Holland. Great points there about how, there are facts that have a lot of people saying, well, wait a second, is this not a random coincidence or something caused by someone else, perhaps because of these connections that you just pointed out. Maria, what do you think? Doing criminal defense work, primarily for many years in federal. Does this concern you that the sleuths take over a lot of cases before there are even charges?
So Matthew hit on this in your last segment. Social media has really taken over these cases. I mean, they get out on TikTok, they go on Facebook, they go on Instagram, and they post things that maybe are not true, or they are true, or they're lies. And you got to be really careful and sensitive to it, especially during jury selection. I mean, you really have to attack the social media aspects. I've had it in many of my high-profile cases where the social media just gets out of control, and people come up with convictions before there's even any evidence. There's no evidence that this young man has done anything wrong. Nothing wrong. He's, from what I understand.
Yeah, so I'm not really caring what a defense attorney is saying. We know you guys are scumbags a lot of the time. Sorry to say, right? Defense isn't working for the side of justice. A lot of the times they're working to get people off of crimes, So I don't really care what a defense attorney says. But one thing I will say is there's not necessarily solid proof that he committed a crime, but there's certainly, well, I don't even know if you can say that, because his connection to Celeste makes no sense, right? There's a Celeste in his Discord, which that person is now gone. They're deleted from there. There's video footage of him with Celeste. There's pictures, right? One of the pictures actually puts a time frame of October 2024. So that's months after she goes missing, with her and David, right? And then, boom, she pops up in his Tesla dead. I mean, there's more than enough proof that they were together. So proof that he killed her specifically, no. Proof that he had a relationship with this young girl, yes. Proof that something happened as it relates to him and her, yes, right? That's what everyone is saying. Now, whether that proof is solid enough for the police yet, I don't know. I don't know if the police are looking to arrest a celebrity really quickly without the correct information, right? He's obviously connected. I mean, this guy blew up overnight. There's a lot that could be going on as to why there isn't charges. But to sit here and blatantly kind of say, they have no evidence of him doing anything wrong, actually there kind of is, right? One, the fact that this girl's body, who she spent time in his Discord, her body popped up in his car, there's a problem. Why is somebody that you spoke to on the internet in your car deceased, dismembered? That's too many coincidences. And people who are in crime, who study crime, who are in that field in general, they will tell you the same thing. There is no such thing as coincidences when it comes to crime. People do what they do. There are no coincidences. So, I'm curious to see what his connection is. But to imply he has no connection and no wrongdoing, I don't know if what we have right now will say zero wrongdoing. I don't know. I think he's reaching as a defense attorney. But again, that's his job, is to represent people who've done apprehensible things.
He's fully cooperating with the police. I haven't seen that anyway on social media. There was a search warrant executed at his house. I haven't seen anything about that on social media, that they've covered anything or they didn't recover anything. So you really have to be attuned to it.
This defense attorney is twerking because it absolutely has been on social media that his house was searched, right? This is where sleuths are coming in for, right? His home was searched. And his home, the home that was associated with the vehicle, is the one that was searched, right? You have to think about it. This is a 21-year-old. He couldn't just necessarily go out there and buy a house or buy an apartment right away. Maybe it was something he had to build up to, right? Because that apartment was in the name of his manager. But the sleuths and others have proved that he lived in that house. The police have proof that he lived in that house. Some information is solidified already, but the problem is they're trying to make the connections. And again, they're not going to just pick up a celebrity and arrest them without very, very solid proof and a solid case, because these people have the attorneys, they have the money to fight any charges, right? So the police do have to kind of move smooth. Now, this is where the internet has to take a step back and let the police do their job. They have to. If the internet gets too involved and starts demanding answers, we're going to start seeing things impact things, right? They talked about jury. The jury pool being tainted by so much public information can work in his favor, right? It can cause him to actually possibly get free on a technicality, right? Or some other type of impact that can happen to a jury that would allow him to not get charges. Hey, front porch, how you doing, girl? What's going on? What is going on? I'm covering this case today, kind of a crazy one, so hopefully you guys are up to date. If you're not, trying to bring you as much information as I can about everything that's kind of come out. Now, one of the big things that we discussed a minute ago was the caskets and his fascination with death. Now, he has a song called Romantic Homicide, but the symbolism of the casket in the memorial was something that was extremely disturbing to me. But let's continue.
Going on in social media as a criminal defense attorney, more so now than ever before.
Yeah, most definitely, Mario. This young lady, 15 years old, was 14 at the time she disappeared. We know she was 5'1", had wavy black hair. She had that tattoo on her right index finger that Holland mentioned, the tattoo that you could see when she would hold the finger up. It was on like the inside of it. And apparently, David has the same tattoo on the same finger. Could be coincidence. The medical examiner did speak to Court TV. Here's a look at part of that interview. Here we go. Oh, I thought I was playing a clip. I apologize. We've got a quote issued to Court TV. So it says the decedent was found severely decomposed inside of a vehicle on September the 8th. She appears to have been deceased inside of the vehicle for an extended period of time before being found. And that would be consistent with her being reported missing over a year ago. This child has been missing for a long time. So she's still a child. David is 20 years old. And so there's a question of whether there was an inappropriate relationship.
And let me say this, I hope that they prove me wrong and kind of show some of the different things that we saw, which doesn't look like it. But one thing that they're not acknowledging here with this situation is some of the footage that has come out, right? One of them being the picture with David and Celeste. I'm going to show you guys right now. And this picture was identified as being from October of 2024. I'm going to show you guys this picture really quick. Sorry. I have to go ahead and search it because I think I saved it on the other computer that I was on. Hold on. Here we go. Oh boy. One thing I hate about TMZ is the way that they have a million ads and like everything has to load. It's so annoying. All right. So sharing this tab here. Hopefully it's not as blurry for you guys as it is for me, right? Look at this picture. This picture has been connected to October of 2024, right? Because of his outfit and taking a picture with Billie Eilish the same day, right? 2024, he's connected. And let me just say something for the people who sit here and try to act like you can't tell the difference between a grown-ass woman and a 14-year-old. I mean, this girl barely has any buds. Barely has any breast buds. Looks like a teenage boy in the body. How do you sit here and act like you mistake this for a grown woman? This is clearly a child. I'm not saying that grown women don't, there isn't grown women that don't have voluptuous bodies, but I mean, she looks like a little kid. She's shaped like a little kid. There's nothing grown about her. She looks like a 12 or 13-year-old that wanted to take a picture with her favorite celebrity. She does not look grown. And the thing that really bothers me is that there's a lot of news outlets and things that are saying she doesn't look like a 14-year-old. She doesn't look like a normal 14-year-old. She looks grown. No, there's nothing grown about this girl. There's nothing grown. If you pull another 14-year-old, another 14-year-old from 17 different neighborhoods, I promise you they're visually going to look similar. All of them. There's no way that David didn't know that this wasn't a child. Okay? So that's one of the photos. Obviously there's other photos of her that are kind of going around. But this photo here in particular was tied to him. In October of 2024, she went missing in April and was never seen or heard from her family again. And then she pops up with David in October of 2024. What's going on here? Hey, Brownie. It really bothers me the amount of people have been trying to act like this girl looks grown or something. She looks like a kid. She looks like a kid. Because people are weird, Mr. Pokerist. I think this is one thing that bothers me too. And if you guys know that when they always have this narrative about looking older, this is a narrative that they look on children of color. It's always black kids. It's always other kids that are othered. They will say that they look grown. This girl don't look grown at all to me. I've seen several 12, 13, 14-year-olds that look just like her. Across the board, there's nothing grown looking about her. But just the fact that people will get on here and try to act like, that she looks like some adult. Like, no, she does not. Put her next to an adult woman. No, she doesn't. Anybody who's saying that she does is not paying attention. It's very weird. I think it's just kind of to explain. I feel like people are always trying to explain why, someone of his caliber might have mistaken her. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird. It's a story about a PDF groomer that was obsessed with gore. That's what I think too, especially because we're going to get into some of the lyrics and things that he was saying at the time. Everything doesn't really line up with how the music plays out, because he talks about romantic homicide and said he's talking about like it's a symbolism of death. So why is there caskets and things? Like, I don't get all that. It makes zero sense. Zero sense. Yes, please hit the like button for me, guys. At the very least, if you could do that. The like button costs you nothing. It's cheap. It's free. You hit it. It'll be great. I'll be happy. You'll be happy. That's all you got to do is hit that like button for me. All right, let's continue. Okay, so there's this photo here, and they say a young woman who looks like Rivas, because again, she was missing at that time. She was missing in October. And then you have this one here, where she's literally trying to conceal her whole look, right? This is said to be, I don't know when this was actually, I don't know if somebody was able to say when this one actually happened, but this is a live stream that I watched the live stream. And on this live stream, they're saying that this girl resembled Celeste, but look at this picture, right? And then let's go back to here. Right? What's the likelihood that it's somebody that looks so visually similar to her that doesn't want to be seen? It's a 18, 19, 20-year-old who doesn't want to be seen. Why? Why wouldn't a grown person want to be seen? Oh, sorry, Brownie. Let me get you a merch. I'd be over here watching the show and I forget. There you go. I actually meant to give out a few more batches of wrenches, which I'll be doing soon. Let me give one more. Just for those of you who are here supporting me and help me get rid of some of these some of these, what do you call it, the gnats in the chat. So yes, thank you very much for being here, for enjoying the show with me. This one really, this story really tickled me, and not in the right way. Tickled me in a bad way, made me upset. You know, like one of those things that keeps your mind stirring. This one really kept my mind stirring. And it's so funny that, not funny, but it's so ironic that they found her body the day after her birthday. And that's why they're calling her 15. This girl was not 15 years old. If I pass today, I'm 30. That's it. There ain't no more birthdays for me. They're not going to say a 31-year-old woman. No, they're going to say a 30-year-old, right? Because that's the last birthday that I ever had. The last birthday I celebrated alive was 30. Right? Same with this little girl. Her last birthday that she celebrated alive, she was 14. She wasn't 15 years old. And even then, it said that she was kind of on the run and running away from home for quite a while now. So she must have not even had a consistent place or time where she was staying in her house, right? Having this man constantly coming after her, seeking after her, and making her feel special. You know, you're welcome, Joanne. You're welcome. I appreciate you guys. You guys are always here supporting the show, giving your great commentary. So, yes, I appreciate you guys. Yeah, she was 12. And, you know, one of the songs that we're going to hear him talk about, she was 11. In 2022, she was 11 years old. And there's references to her age, to when it will be legal for them to be together. I mean, the PDF and gore is just all over the place with this weirdo. So let's go back to the video where they're kind of trying to see if we're making a case for that the media is railroading David. All right, let's get into this one here.
Going on at the time. Matt Timpanic, let me talk to you. You do criminal defense work as well, having been a prosecutor. Tell me, is there a concern with the speculation about whether there was anything romantic going on with the two of them as perhaps being prejudicial? If down the line, let's say there are charges filed here, we can't unring the bell if there's a lot of bad stuff going on. Tell me your thoughts on this and how also you may advise him. We know he's cooperating right now. Your thoughts, please, Matt.
One of the things that's to consider is whether or not, I believe it's California, has Romeo and Juliet laws. I think she was, 15, and he was 20 at the time. Well, when did their relationship...
You see, this is that derelict shit right here. She did not make it to her 15th birthday. She didn't make... This is not a Romeo and Juliet case. This is not a Romeo and Juliet case. This girl would have been 14, and this year he would have been 20. That's not Romeo and Juliet. I'm sorry. That's not Romeo and Juliet. I don't care who call it that. Romeo and Juliet was like 16 and 18-year-old or something like that, or like a 14 and a 15 and a 17-year-old. This is not a person who was 11 while somebody else was 17. There's nothing normal about this age difference. I just don't understand this. Like the narrative trying to like paint her as like something different. These defense attorneys will go to the depths of hell to make a case for these weirdos. I don't think that Romeo and Juliet law should apply to this at all. This girl was completely vulnerable. Not only did he use his age and status, he used his money. If it walks like a duck and waddles as a duck, then it's a duck. Exactly. This is not the media is covering for him even putting that out there. Exactly. Because look at this is what I'm saying. Look at the whole name of this stream. Have social media Sleuths unfairly convicted DVD? I wonder how much he paid Court TV to put this on. Right? Because everybody else who's watching this case is seeing very clearly that there is something very wrong with the relationship that this man had with that young girl. And whether he was a young man or not when he met her, I promise you, if your 17-year-old son is after an 11-year-old, you should have a conversation with them. That is not normal. That is not normal. That is not a regular age gap. That's not what we generally see out here. And I think if any adult saw a 17-year-old pursuing an 11-year-old or a 16-year-old even doing that, they would have concerns. They'd have concerns because there is a very big intellectual power balance there. Not only that, but this man was a celebrity. He's 20 now. She died at 14. This is not a healthy age gap. Romeo and Juliet laws should not apply in a case like this. They're swinging for him before the police have even come out and charged him with anything. It's very strange. And yes, guys, if you can support the show via a like, share, subscribe, a super chat, a cash app, any of that will be grateful. I'll be very grateful if you do any, even just hitting the like button. Let's continue.
Relationship start? Did it start when he was younger in age? But for me, the biggest thing I'm doing with him is, I need to know. Is there anything I should know? Because I'm not going to tell you to be cooperative. If they're going to find something, you're going to tell them something that they wouldn't otherwise get. In this type of situation, when you're looking at the unfair speculation, we try cases in courtrooms. It's based on evidence and facts presented. Unfortunately, sleuthing criminal attorneys are kind of skipping all the steps, which is the evidence phase. Yes, her being found in his car is not a good look. It's possible that eventually down the line, he's going to be the prime suspect in this case. But you cannot skip to that part based on the speculation and they have the same tattoos. You need to put together a timeline. You need to find evidence. Because remember, this would be a...
Okay, Fatso, if you would have took a breath in between that sentence, you would know that we did put a timeline, right? The picture that I just showed you all between him and Celeste Reeves. Right? This was in October of 2024. The Sleuths put that together, right? They found the picture of Billie Eilish with him wearing this same outfit. That's the timeline. He was with her when she was missing. What is this Fatso not understanding? Internet sleuths are not twerking on the internet for no reason. There is connections here. And the connections are way too obvious for you to tell us that there's something wrong with what we're doing on the internet right now, which is just putting two and two together. I do think that people and the public are trying to rush the police, and that's never going to happen. The police is going to move at the pace that they want to, and the pace that's going to guarantee a conviction. They're not going to arrest him the second day with circumstantial evidence. They're going to keep piling and piling things on. Hey, Joshua. But we've established a timeline on the internet, right? This photo was taken in October of 2024. He was the last person to see her alive that anybody knew of. Oh, sleuth. you know I'm African. I suck at pronouncing certain words, okay? I'm trying. But yeah, sleuth. Right? We're definitely trying. And here, from what we see, he was the last person to know of her after she went missing, because in October of 2024, no one in her family had heard from her. She had been missing since April at this point. The police have not heard of her or from her. The first time she went missing in January of this year, the police located her and returned her to her mother. When she went missing again in April, in between then, that's the live stream that I showed you guys, where there's a person who looks visually similar to Celeste, but she has a hood on and she's kind of hiding her face. Right? But if we look at the wanted poster, even here, this is from April of 2024. If she was last seen by all her loved ones in April and seen by him in October wearing the same outfit on the same night that he seen and hugged Billie Eilish and took a picture, then we know that he was the last person to see her alive in October. Not only him, but his entire team. Why would his team come out and say, or not his team, Discord come out and say, we knew nothing of this girl, we didn't know her age, because they know that there's evidence there. The police took his computers from that house. He was living in that house. So, I mean, these defense attorneys can twerk and twerk and twerk. That's what they're getting paid for. But we absolutely put together a timeline already of what we think happened to Celeste and where we think she was throughout the year that she's been missing from her family. All right, let's get back into this video, okay? They're definitely twerking for David. Honestly, at this point, I'm starting to believe that this is a ad. Core TV is literally just twerking for him. You know, they are, honestly, except for that one girl on there. So, actually, we're going to move on to a different video. This video is 5 creepy details that have come out. Law and Crime obviously went out and covered this case as well, because again, the internet, you're not going to gaslight the internet sleuths, right? The internet sleuths. right? We found the information. We're connecting the dots. Look at Jamari. Jamari just dropped a video. The David situation gets much worse. Yeah, because things are not looking good for him, right? They keep saying, "Oh, it's not a good look. It's not a good look." Why? It's not a good look because his connection to her is becoming clear as day. All right, so we're gonna get into this next video by Law and Crime sidebar. Before we get to that, Victorious One says, "What is the value of the life of women and children? Frightening. Wonder if the government will have full transparency when it comes to the Epstein files from Children's Island. Prayers for Celeste. Yeah, Celeste needs prayers. Her soul needs to be released. She needs to be vindicated, right? Because the person who dismembered her body and put him in his truck, or put her in his truck, right? They need to pay for this. And if that was him, then he needs to pay for it too. She's not going to rest until he does." Let's continue.
The investigation into singer David has intensified after the body of a teenager was discovered in a Tesla that has been linked to him. From canceled tours to social media revelations, new developments are raising serious questions about their supposed relationship and the ongoing probe. We are going to break down the latest developments in this case and what law enforcement is focusing on next with a retired detective. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. The investigation into Houston-born singer David, D4VD, real name David Anthony Burke, continues to widen after the body of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez was found decomposed in a Tesla reportedly registered to him. Authorities are still working to determine exactly what happened here, but the fallout is growing. There's an alleged former teacher of Celeste even coming forward with troubling claims about her connection to the singer, and we're going to get there. But first, we got to look back at what we know when this case first broke. We covered it here on Sidebar, but on September 8th, LAPD officers responded to Hollywood Tow on Mansfield Avenue. And this is after workers reported a foul odor coming from a car. That car was a Tesla with Texas plates registered to David. It had been abandoned in the Hollywood Hills and towed. Inside the front trunk, authorities discovered dismembered human.
One thing I'll say is, how does a car that is linked to you, was in front of your house, and then eventually moved from in front of your house, but still in your neighborhood, how is that an abandoned vehicle? I mean, it was obviously his car, but because of whatever was happening in that vehicle and him leaving it on the street, it seems like it was impounded. But this was his vehicle. This was not an abandoned vehicle. He was seen in it. He's used it before. It was linked to his house. I mean, I just don't understand some of this investigative reporting, not just from them, but from like what the police are telling them. I understand the police are going to keep this tight-lipped. It's about a celebrity. This is Hollywood. But this doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, one thing I'll tell you all, guys, I have a friend, a very good friend of mine. I haven't spoken to her in a few years now, actually. She's gone through some stuff. But this friend of mine went to California when she was about 16 or 17 to go to school, to live with a person that her family let her go live with. And when I tell you, that girl told me about all the nonsense happening in Hollywood, how they're buying teenage girls all the time and all this. This is incredibly frightening for Celeste and what she went through, but for all the other teen girls out there that are could possibly fall prey in this same way to not only a David, but people much more powerful and much more evil than him. This is what I'm saying. Like, this part don't make sense to me either, Mr. Pocaris, because who just abandons a Tesla and then, he just leaves it on the street, and because he left it on the street, his neighbors called the police and they towed it and he don't care? Like, how rich are you? You know what I'm saying? But also, this car, it just has a deteriorating corpse in it. It doesn't make any sense. A car that's been associated with him, that he was living with, that vehicle was by his house. He's seen living there. He's been living there. He's associated with all of this. So it's like, people want us to ignore all of this, but this makes no sense. If I were to leave my car on the street and just leave it there and not touch it and someone smells something funky, it ain't going to be an abandoned vehicle. They're going to be like, my neighbor who lives over there, her car is over here. It's stinking up the road. She ain't moving it. I don't know if there's something wrong with it. That's what my neighbors would do. They wouldn't have that shit towed off the street because it's abandoned. Who abandons a Tesla? But again, this is Hollywood, so we're kind of seeing part of that.
Remains wrapped in a bag. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner identified the body as Celeste Rivas Hernandez, who had been missing from Riverside County since April of 2024. According to reporting from KTLA, the Cybertruck had been there for about 5 days. The medical examiner's office said that Celeste's body was badly decomposed and appeared to have been in the vehicle for an extended period of time. Now, Celeste's cause of death was listed as deferred, but around the time that she went missing in 2024, there were rumors that circulated that David was dating a teen girl named Celeste. This is according to screen captures of messages that were posted in 2023 in chat rooms, namely Discord. Now, Celeste, who had just turned 15 the day before her body was found, was remembered by family as a wonderful daughter, sister, cousin, and friend. Her brother previously told NBC Los Angeles that she disappeared after leaving the family home to see a movie with David. Reports also noted a striking detail, that Celeste had a tattoo on her finger reading "shh," and multiple photos show David with a nearly identical tattoo on his hand. Now, in the past week, both of David's remaining U.S. tour dates, San Francisco and Los Angeles, were canceled, along with at least 9 European shows that were listed on Ticketmaster, including an October 1st stop in Norway. A scheduled Grammy Museum appearance in Los Angeles was also pulled from the venue's website. His label, Interscope, later told TMZ that all promotion for David, including his deluxe album release, was being paused. And David, by the way, was also the face of a new collaboration between Hollister and Crocs. But he was scrubbed from the campaign just days after it was launched, according to the New York Post. Now, a spokesperson previously told NBC News that David was cooperating with authorities, but to be clear, there's no formal arrests. Now, investigators are digging deeper into this case. We are too, and for that, I want to bring on a special guest. I want to bring in Matthew Irvine, who's a retired detective and law enforcement instructor. Thank you so much for coming here on Sidebar. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Jesse.
So based on your experience, how do police, by the way, when they're dealing with, and I wonder if this is a big issue in LA, but how do police deal with prioritizing cases when you have a celebrity, a famous person linked in some way to a crime? How do they deal with that?
Well, ideally, there really shouldn't be any distinction based on the fame or wealth of the person implicated in a crime, whether they be the accused or the victim. In reality, there are always pressures that are brought to bear on investigators, be it from within their agency or from the media or the public. And the challenge for the investigator is to remember, as Harry Bosch says, everybody counts or nobody counts.
This is the first Bosch reference we've ever gotten on Sidebar, and you named it. Okay, when you're dealing with a body that's as decomposed as this, how do authorities analyze that evidence? How do they handle that evidence? And the idea that this body was severely decomposed, what does that tell you?
Well, it sounds like from the reporting we've heard so far, and again, I don't know anything about this case other than what's been publicly reported. It sounds like poor Celeste was likely in the front trunk of that vehicle for several weeks before her body was discovered. And there's even been reporting that she was dismembered. That certainly presents a challenge for the medical examiner and for investigators in terms of determining time and cause of death. Also raises some questions in terms of why the killer reportedly chose to dismember this young woman. Sometimes the killer will dismember their victim because if they do that and disperse the remains over some space, particularly if certain body parts aren't found, it makes it harder to identify the victim. Now, people that kill strangers don't usually need to worry about the victim being identified because there's nothing that connects to them. So the only time the identity of the victim is a problem for the killer is if there's some known relationship.
Look, I'm going to say this. I cover crazy stories all day, and I'm not going to lie to you. Sometimes it makes me think about myself, my loved ones, family. If something should happen, would my family still be able to cover the big expenses like the mortgage, utilities, the day-to-day bills? Look, I know, life insurance, that's not something you want to be thinking about. But the truth is, the problem is on some platform, and just it is $2 a day. That plan.
Let me just say this. We're sitting here talking about red rum, and this ninja comes out with a freaking commercial for insurance. Y'all gotta do better. Jesse, or whatever your name is, your fine self, you got to do better. Don't ever do a commercial in between a segment like that without telling us what you're doing. All right, let's continue.
HOS.com/sidebar. Also, Matthew, someone would have to have the means and the opportunity to dispose of a body in this fashion and be able to deposit the body in this car. That, I wonder, is that something?
Yeah, and that's a really good point that he made there, right? The only time that you're going to want to dismember a body, a lot of the times, a person who's trying to conceal a crime, is if you don't want the person's identity. Or in this case, right, people have mentioned that he supposedly got her pregnant. If he was trying to conceal a pregnancy, right, he might dismember her to get rid of evidence of a womb, developing a child or something like that. Right, I could certainly see that, right? But other than that, she's already linked to the vehicle. So what exactly would he be trying to conceal by dismembering her? Right, if going off of the theory that this gentleman gave us here. All right, let's continue.
Investigators are looking into how can someone have the ability to do something like this? Who can have the means, the opportunity to do that, right?
Well, we have to kind of keep the Occam's razor principle in mind. I mean, this vehicle was registered to David Burke. It was apparently towed from across the street from a home that he was renting. So the simplest theory would be that this crime happened in or near the vehicle and likely by David or somebody close to him with access to the vehicle. That said, as an investigator, we have to keep in mind until the investigation is complete and all the facts are in, that we don't know yet all the facts. We need to think about what we don't yet know. And as an investigator, while you want to trust your intuition and the wisdom of your experience and your common sense, we have to remember that just because you did 100 of these cases and it always turned out this way and the answer was X, in this case, the answer could still be Y. So we have to keep an open mind. But certainly there's a lot of publicly available information that seems to point to the involvement of David Burke in the death of this child.
By the way, what causes decomposition and how quickly does it happen?
Decomposition is a natural process once the person is no longer alive, and it's affected by a lot of factors, including temperature and whether the body is protected in some way.
And thinking about the fact that we've had a heat wave this entire summer, 100+ degrees, right? And the fact that she likely passed months ago, right? So if she passed months ago, then the stench would really only get bad once we're kind of in those hot months or like getting out of those hot months, right? The body has been in there a long time, and decomposition tends to speed up when it's hot, right? Very demonic, very, very demonic to leave her corpse in the trunk like that, not really caring what is happening to her, especially because, she's decomposing significantly. Sometimes people just go off the rails and aren't really in their right mind when they commit these acts. Then they default to, well, what did other people do? Chop, chop. This is an excuse for him. Yeah, it's definitely not an excuse for him at all, but the problem is whether you do something in the heat of the moment or not, the integrity comes with whether you take ownership of that, disposing of her body, hiding the relationship he had with her and what could have led to some violence like this. That's the main issue that he's having right now. People don't understand why she would be found in his vehicle in the first place. What was the connection there? Was there some sort of like fatal attraction? Did she get too involved in his lifestyle and maybe get drunk or something? Like we just don't know. Right? We don't know, and we don't know because she's a child and she was in the presence of an adult who really didn't care about her. All right, seeking out children to have intercourse with and then potentially unalive the child seems well thought out to me. Yeah, it's very sad. Were there people looking for her? Absolutely. She went missing initially in January, and she was located. Her parents reported her missing right away. Her mom reported her missing right away, and then she was returned home. She went missing months later in April. So who's to say what he said to her, how he convinced her to leave her home? But obviously, after this point, her family heard nothing from her. And so for her body to just pop up in September of the following year, and now the stench is bad, that gives to me that she possibly passed away this year. Maybe he dealt with her. He was with her for the year, because we saw in October she was still alive. right? That picture of her with him. The day that he took a picture with Billie Ellis, she was wearing the same outfit. We know in October she was alive, right? So between October and September of this year, when her corpse was found, she passed away. And we just really don't know what happened. Yeah, it's a very weird case. And that's all right. You know, there's a lot of details that are coming in and out. It's easy to miss some details in a case like this. But it's a very, very strange case. Nothing about this case is normal at all. It's very bizarre. And it doesn't look healthy for this man to have been associated with her, whether he was a teen when he met her as well, or a young adult when he met her as well or not. Let's continue.
In this case, in the front trunk of a vehicle in Los Angeles in the late summer, it's likely that decomposition would happen very rapidly.
I want to get into some of the key updates in this case from the last time we spoke. So, according to Forbes and ABC News, police executed a search warrant at a Hollywood Hills home on September 18th where David had been staying. They seized a computer, they seized other items of evidence. Sources told the Los Angeles Times that David had been renting the home, which the LAPD confirmed to Forbes was on Doheny Place. That's not far from where the Tesla was reportedly abandoned. And Matthew, actually, let's just start there. What does a search like that tell us about where investigators are focusing? How significant is it that they've removed electronics and other materials from this property? What does this tell you?
Well, in order to get a search warrant, you need to be able to articulate to a judge that you have probable cause to believe crime has been committed and that evidence of that crime is going to be found in the place that you intend to search. So just because you search somebody's residence or vehicle or other property doesn't necessarily mean that that person is your suspect in the crime. It simply means that that place is likely to have evidence related to the crime. So certainly they had to meet that legal standard in order to execute the search warrant. And I'm into looking for physical evidence, forensic evidence within the residence. As you said, they are seizing electronic evidence, and that's going to be critical in this case. I mean, just from what's already been reported publicly, there seems to be a lot of online communication between people who at least appear to be David and Celeste, going back maybe as far as 2022, when she was 11 or 12 years old. There's also a lot of communication, again, just being posted online between David and other parties that appear to have some knowledge at least of his relationship with Celeste. So the timeline is going to be really important here. And the electronic record is going to be an important part of that timeline.
100%. And by the way, we also have to mention that while this was going on, deputies in Houston, they also confirmed to Click 2 Houston that they responded twice last week to David's Cypress, Texas home after security alarms were triggered. Now, the property records tie the house to a trust that resembles the name of his debut album, Petals to Thorns. There's no search warrants that have been executed there, which is interesting because, Matthew, how would law enforcement typically treat these kinds of security alerts?
I mean, to me, I don't see how they would be able to secure a warrant for every other property. I mean, this property, it's easy to get a warrant because it's connected to the vehicle. The vehicle was parked in that neighborhood before it was towed away. So it has a direct connection to the corpse, to where the car was, to where the body essentially was for whatever amount of time that it was there. So that house, yes. But the other property, I think it would cost the state attorney to get a warrant of that. I just think when you're dealing with a celebrity who has the ability to get counsel, to get good counsel fast, right? It's not going to be as easy to kind of take a chance and execute these warrants or try to get warrants with the little information we just have, especially without showing their hand about what evidence they do have currently as well before building a real case. So let's hear what he has to say about that, though, because I'm curious.
It's in an ongoing investigation. When you're talking about a different property, are you surprised that property hasn't been searched yet?
Well, that's the first I'm hearing of this, but it's interesting to think that somebody may have tried to make entry to that property. That could be an effort by somebody to remove evidence that was there. That's the obvious connection to this Los Angeles-based investigation. As to search warrants, again, officer or detective needs to be able to articulate probable cause to a judge that there is evidence of a crime on those premises. And apparently at this point, they don't feel like they've got that.
Now, I want your perspective on this too. So TMZ obtained messages from a Discord moderator that was tied to David's online community. And the administrator insisted that they believed Celeste to be 18 or 19 years old and denied knowing that she was a missing, 15-year-old. Part of the message that was obtained by TMZ reads, "We, the Discord and Twitch staff teams, want to clarify what we knew and didn't know regarding Celeste. We were not aware of her true age or that she was a missing person. We also did not have any contact with her outside of what was made public. From what was shared in David's Twitch streams, and from her role in the server, we understood her to be around 18 to 19.
So, let me just say this too. Discord is essentially confirming that Celeste was a part of his Discord server, right? They didn't know her true age and that she was a missing person. Why? Because David was doing streams with her, right? So for the people who are trying to say that the girl in the stream was somebody else, I think Discord is pretty much saying they had no idea that Celeste was involved with this young man, because the internet is going to reveal that, right? The police had electronic devices and things like that. So whether it was David or his manager, they're going to reveal the connection that these two had through Twitch. And how do you understand her to be around 18 or 19? That don't make no sense. You guys, there's no way for them to streamline or know people's ages. So how did you know of her to be around 18 or 19? That means they likely observed lots of interactions between them two that were inappropriate and probably said nothing about it. Let's continue.
Now, it's not clear which administrator made this statement, but Matthew, that's interesting, right?
It is interesting, but I don't really know how relevant it is in terms of this criminal investigation. What's important is what David knew. And all the publicly available information appears to show that he knew her age, that he first communicated with her when she was a middle schooler, again, possibly 12 or 11 years old, and that when she left home with him in the first part of last year, she was only...
Yeah, and Brownie, I can certainly see them assuming that she's grown. The problem is we have kids on the internet, right? We have kids that are susceptible to adults and their weird behavior, unfortunately. So I think assuming the age of young people on these sites, what they know, the main people consuming these artists are young kids. They're not grown people like myself. They're not 30-year-olds for the most part. A lot of the time, the people consuming this music are the younger generations. So I think they have even more responsibility to make sure that they are not harboring children amongst them and amongst these celebrities. I think that's a very important thing that needs to be said and needs to be dealt with in a way. There's a lot of weirdness surrounding this case because a lot of people are coming out after the fact, understanding what is going on here. Like they're putting together the pieces of everything after the fact, right? But he streamed with her. He has pictures with her. It's clear that he was with her after she disappeared from her home. Does that mean that he deleted her? Not necessarily, but he definitely was one of the last people to see her alive. Right? And that's questionable when she was 14 years old at the time. Let's continue.
13. And as we've been talking about her a lot as 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. And as you said, it's important to remember she never lived to see her 15th birthday.
Right.
She was found in the front trunk of that car the day after she should have turned 15. So this really is a child. And throughout her relationship with David, whatever it was, she was unquestionably a child.
And that's the point, because TMZ reports that there is this newly surfaced video that apparently shows David and Celeste together on a live stream interacting with fans. And in the clip, Celeste can be heard prompting David to respond to a comment. That video was recorded in January of 2024. You go back to that timeline, Matthew, of when they said she went missing. Is that video going to be key for investigators?
Absolutely. And that's just one of many images, moving and still, that have been popping up all over social media in the last couple of weeks. There seems to be a really strong digital footprint showing them in various locations, backstage at his concerts, doing his live stream, and various still images taken in various places going back at least to early 2024. And again, as you said, that was several months before she left home, and while she was still very much a 13-year-old middle school kid.
Well, I tell you what, it's not just investigators looking into this. There have been a lot of online sleuths.
And this is what bothers me about them calling her a 15-year-old. right? Because when he was interacting with her online that year, that picture, the concert pic that was in October of 2024, she would have just turned 14 that year. What 17, not 17, what 19-year-old do you guys know is sitting here hanging around with a 14-year-old, 13-year-old? And if you know anybody, why are you not concerned about that? There's absolutely no reason for a 13-year-old to be vanishing and then popping up in the presence of a 19-year-old. She says, you heard him? Online sleuths. I just, me and that word are not friends. But yeah, she was very young, 13 years old. She was in middle school. Her middle school teacher spoke out as well. We might get into him today. I do want to do another stream today, so I don't want to take up all my social energy streaming. But we might be able to fit that into this one here. So let's continue.
That have been digging into David's posts on social media as well as his songs to see if there's any clue about what might have happened here. There's an unreleased song that was leaked last week. It's reportedly called Celeste _demo unfin, as in, unfinished. This is according to KTLA and TMZ. And in David's biggest song called Romantic Homicide, David sings, "In the back of my mind, I killed you, and I didn't even regret it. I can't believe I said it, but it's true." We all know whether or not lyrics will play a role in a criminal case is a controversial and constitutional issue as well. Just putting that to the side, though. In a 2022 interview, Forbes reports that Burke had said that those lyrics are figurative, saying, "I didn't kill her physically, but in the back of my mind, she died." Online sleuths have also uncovered a TikTok video made by another user, but it was apparently reposted by David, where the person in the video is chopping up chicken, and words on the screen read, "Me if I see her talk with other dudes." So David's label.
Yeah, this is weird. Very weird.
Interscope Records, along with UMG, Sony Music Publishing, Wasserman, they have paused all promotional activities around his upcoming deluxe album and his career overall, basically. His last Instagram post celebrates the release of the deluxe version of his album, Withered, which was supposed to come out on September 19th. Forbes reported it hasn't appeared on streaming services. Matthew, a few things here. First of all, the lyrics, I mentioned, I've talked about cases involving musicians and criminal cases and whether or not the lyrics can be introduced into evidence as, intent, or it shows their knowledge or what have you. But do you think that there's something of value there, or are people maybe reading into it too much?
I think there's certainly something of value. I mean, we need to be careful in treating song lyrics as autobiographical or confessional. Johnny Cash saying that he shot a man in Reno just to watch him die, and nobody thinks Johnny Cash killed anybody. But as you said, it's the totality of what he is putting out there, not just the lyrics to Celeste or Romantic Homicide, but the posts of chopping chicken. There's another post that had to do with jealous rage when he finds out she's had prior relationships. He created a sort of alter ego for his latest album and tour called Itami, who is pictured in a blood-spattered shirt. And David Burke described him in an interview as his sort of evil, homicidal alter ego. Supposedly, there's a video for Romantic Homicide that shows Itami murdering a girl. So is it proof of anything? No. But it's certainly information, and certainly part of the total picture that investigators and prosecutors are going to have to look at.
Why do you think there's been a full stop pause on his career? Is it because, hey, listen, from a PR perspective, from an optics point of view, as this investigation's going on, we as a business, we can't continue to promote his music. We can't, have any role in this whatsoever. We want to distance ourselves. We want to let this cool off. Or does it signal to you that there is something going on in the investigation, that there is a development, that something is about to happen? It would help in the sense, now you know where he is, and if you need to further question him, he's not going on tour.
Absolutely. He's not leaving the U.S. As to the sort of business decisions, I mean, he right now looks like somebody who's in a lot of trouble. All the available information right now seems to point to him I can't imagine any publicity conscious business wanting to continue an association with him or wanting to promote him at this time. That, though, is a different calculus than is he guilty of homicide? And can that be proven beyond a reasonable doubt? So there's the optics right now, which seem to point very strongly to his guilt. That may yet prove to be the case, but we're still a long way off from, even at this point, apparently probable cause to arrest, much less guilt beyond a reasonable doubt.
We got to talk about this next development.
Yeah. You know, things don't move this quickly in law enforcement, in crimes. Yeah, prior relationships with other kids. Yeah, I'm telling you, Brownie, Romeo and Juliet laws cannot cover this case here. This young man had a habit of seeking out young girls. That was his thing. Was to seek out these young girls who had no idea who he really was, who idolized him, who worshipped his money and things like that, because they're kids and they don't know better, right? That's why he was seeking this population. Now, I am going to share with you guys the video from her teacher in a second. Her teacher specifically, oh, I know people are covering this right now. That's crazy. There's a lot of information that's coming out on this case rapidly. But I'm going to add that here. There's only about 7 minutes left in this video. And then I'm going to do the video where her teacher is talking about it. The information from the teacher is still very, it's not elusive, but it's still very limited compared to what we know. What we know for sure, at least. So I'm going to play the rest of this video. And then we're going to look into what her teacher said about her being deceased. All right. Yes, everybody, if you could hit the like button for me, I would appreciate it. A share, a like, a subscribe, all of that is enough for me. I love it. But if you'd like to, if you feel so inclined to send a super chat to support the true crime antics over here, I would appreciate it. If you'd like to send a Cash App, I would appreciate that as well. All right, let's continue.
Pretty wild, okay? A Southern California teacher, who has, by the way, not yet been named by law enforcement, revealed or apparently revealed in a TikTok video that Celeste had once been his student at Lakeland Village Middle School. In that video, which was recorded by a student in his class, he can be heard recounting that Celeste allegedly told other students that she met David online. Again, when she was 13 years old, ran away with him, was eventually found by police in Hollywood, and then disappeared again in 2024, May of 2024. And the teacher said that he even spoke with students at the time who told them that she had been in contact with David. TMZ says they spoke with this teacher who told them that he shared this story with his class as a cautionary tale about the dangers of social media. Matthew, given this teacher's account or alleged account of Celeste, running away, her interactions with David, what are the challenges that this type of information may present for investigators? How seriously do law enforcement agencies weigh this kind of statement?
So, a video taken by a student of a middle school teacher in his classroom is not in itself proof of anything. It's information. It's not evidence. Question is, can this teacher's account be corroborated in other ways? And again, a lot of what's coming out now is just coming out on social media. And sometimes it's...
And this is where people have to be patient. Like, what we're seeing online is the least information about this case possible. And look how much we're getting, right? The police know so much more than us, but we're not privy to that, right? We're going to find out after the fact. We're going to find out after the police have come to their conclusions in order for Celeste to rest in peace, but for her to be vindicated, right? For whoever deleted her to face consequences. It's going to take time. Hey, Lana Love, and hello, Chakra Love. I see you guys jumped into the chat while I was discussing the show here. So thank you so much, guys, for joining the show. I appreciate you here today with me on this true crime show. All right, let's continue.
Multiple levels of hearsay, somebody posting on TikTok something that they are screenshotting off of Reddit or Discord. But it seems like the family is also telling authorities that indeed Celeste left home initially in April of 2024. That's when that missing poster was created. It describes her as leaving home, last seen wearing Hello Kitty sandals. that she came back for about a month or so, and that she left again in May, and that she was last seen by the family going someplace with David. So if that is indeed what the family is saying, as has been reported, that would jibe exactly with what this teacher is alleging. And that is useful information for authorities when it's not just alleged, but also corroborated.
And the fact that this information surfaced on social media, does that affect how investigators handle it?
You know, it's funny, in trying to educate myself about this case, I realize that most of the up-to-date and detailed reporting is on social media, on Reddit, on Discord, on TikTok, on Instagram. And that is a challenge for investigators because this is these are new media formats, quite frankly.
And you know, I'm gonna say this because I'm reading the chat and I'm listening, but I heard about Gus as well. You know, this is why I said if they could convict somebody on circumstantial evidence, David will be arrested right now. But there is a lot of circumstantial evidence surrounding this case, including the presence of another male and the possibility that this other male was dealt with by him. All right, so hopefully those of you who are following online, we can't verify a lot of this information, but a lot of information is coming out. And thank you so much, A-Dub, for the super chat. A-Dub says, interesting, but it's making me mad. Prayers for her. I'm telling you, A-Dub, this case kind of shook me a little bit. 45 watching, 25 likes, or 21 likes. Hit the get the likes up for me. Yes, if you guys could please get the likes up for me, I would appreciate that. A like is free. It's free 99. So if you don't want to send a super chat to have your message read and highlighted, you don't have to. But if you could hit the like button for me, I would greatly appreciate it. This case made me very, very upset. I'm gonna say one thing. You know, as somebody who has a general urgency and protection of women, just in general, right? Meaning the women and people around me. I worry about their safety. You know, I've dealt with people, you know, and I had a friend that she actually, I'm not going to speak too much on her. She did some wild stuff. In the little amount of time that I knew her, she had more drama in those 2 to 3 months that, you know, I was around her life than most of my friends, you know. So I worry about women. I worry about their ability to sense danger, their willingness to return to danger. You know, there's just a lack of education and knowledge about how dangerous it really can be to be associated with the male. So, yeah, mad prayers for her for sure. Prayers for her. Hopefully her soul is resting. But honestly, I don't think until the person who's caught that she's going to rest. Hey, Fleetwood Cat, thank you for joining the show. Mr. Pokeris says it would be the wildest thing ever if after all the facts come out, it was a different David. Listen, when it comes to crimes, there's no coincidences. There are no coincidences. So I honestly think that there's a lot more to their connection that we don't understand yet. Honestly, like really a lot. Safety is key. Absolutely. Safety is the most important thing when you're dealing with anybody. But how can a 12, 13, 14-year-old be safe against a grown adult who's willing to exploit them? You know, it's just difficult. It's really difficult. But let's continue. There's about 4 minutes left, and then we're going to watch the video from her teacher. Very little information is coming out about her teacher because, again, this is a developing case. They're still building a case against David or whoever is associated with that Tesla and the evidence inside of it. Let's continue.
A lot of robbery homicide detectives are middle-aged people like myself who aren't really savvy in these newer forms of media. So I would absolutely hope that there is attached to this investigation somebody who is a lot more social media savvy and probably, frankly, a whole lot younger than me, because that's really what this investigation is going to have to include in order to really stay on top of all the leads.
Yeah, and trying to corroborate that story would be interesting too. Could the TikTok post itself be treated as potential evidence? Is it just more of a lead that they then follow? What do you think?
It's all potentially evidence. Again, the question is, can it be verified? Can it be corroborated? There's a whole lot of stuff out there. Like I said, some of it is second and even third hand. It's TikTokers reposting things from Discord or things from Reddit. And so all of that is not inherently all that reliable. But if it matches what Celeste's family shares, what Celeste's friends are able to corroborate, what David's digital footprint informs them of, what the forensic evidence shows. Now you're starting to put together a case.
Now here's the point. Through all of this, Celeste's family is left grieving. In a message that was posted alongside a GoFundMe campaign, the Rivas Hernandez family wrote, "As many of you know, Celeste Rivas Hernandez has been identified as the body found last week. She was a beloved daughter, sister, cousin, and friend. Her family is heartbroken and devastated by this tragic loss. They are seeking help to lay her body to rest. Any funds you are able to donate are greatly appreciated." Matthew, do you think an arrest is imminent here? I mean, we started this case off by not even...
I'm going to give you guys a bit of breaking news. I'm going to give you guys a bit of breaking news. It appears that Mr. David is leaving his Hollywood homes. All right. So R&B singer David has broken the lease of his Hollywood Hills home amid an investigation into the dismembered body of a missing teenager found in a car registered to his name. Why is he breaking the lease? Right? Why is he breaking the lease? Let's look into this probe here that is happening. I'm sorry, guys. I thought I shared the link with you. I did not. Let me put that link up, and we're going to get into this. Why is he breaking the lease of that home if he did nothing wrong? If nothing in that house is associated with Celeste? All right, we're going to get right into it. Hey, Rogue C. And yes, Teslas do have cameras. So I'm curious what those cameras picked up, if anything, if they're not destroyed. All right, guys, do me a favor, hit the like button on your way in. Let's continue and see what new information has come out about why he's leaving his home at this point. Right, this was updated today at 1:16 p.m.
24, somebody commented on David's TikTok and said, quote, "Waiting for LAPD to get your ass for messing with a 13-year-old girl." Did that somebody know something about Celeste? I want to bring back our panel of true crime podcasters, Lauren Conlon, Pascal, and Shogun Oduoluwu. Okay, I'm going to start with you again, Lauren. Isn't it surprising that we're not hearing anything at all about the investigation into a possible sex crime, given there seems to be ample evidence just online that these two met a long time ago?
Yes, that was my first thought, because normally we see, police arresting their suspect on something else in order to hold them. And this has not been the case. But something I keep thinking about here is that police really do need tangible evidence that they were in a sexual relationship. I mean, you said it though, at this point, her mother has confirmed she had a boyfriend named David. Her brother confirmed it. We've seen a lot online. But I go back to this. I really do believe that police, law enforcement are sifting through all of his devices to confirm this. And something else, Ashley, that I've kind of been asking myself as well is how many people knew about this? How many people either looked the other way or were possibly complicit in their alleged relationship? Because, I mean, even the teacher, that video of her teacher saying that he knew that she was talking to the singer David, and also that video or a photo, of David appearing in a parking lot that's right by Celeste's home, right by her school. He appears to be talking with another student. And listen, the rumor mill is going wild about that photo because now there are allegations that people did know they were being paid off. And those are completely unfounded, but I just wanted to point out what was going on in the rumor mill. So yeah, I have a lot of questions about why there hasn't been an arrest yet on, the fact that he could have been committing statutory rape.
I will also say this. A teacher is different than the rest of us. They actually do have a duty to report. It doesn't seem to me that that particular teacher who was online knew anything more than this girl had met a person on social media. It falls on the parents at that point to really find out what their kids are doing. And if they don't come home for the night, get after it, do something about it. But it's certainly not up to the teacher to do that. Pascal, jump into that, by the way. The ages. I know I just read the whole timeline, but it's so overwhelming to even me. Remind us about when they first met and what the ages we're talking about here are.
Well, what we understand is they apparently were talking around the time that David was actually 17 or 18 and Celeste was around 12 years old. There is speculation that maybe they started sending flirtatious text messages or DMs.
Wow.
For her as young as
That is disgusting. And so again, when I say this is a developing story, it's literally developing before our eyes. This just happened not that long ago, right? This was 5 hours ago. And they're making these deep connections online. Online, people are saying, we have proof that they've been together for at least 2 years, right? Because if she's supposedly would have been turning 15 and he met her when she was 12, they've had a history. They have a history together, right? A lot of the internet is putting together this timeline of how long they must have known each other. You're welcome, A-Dub. And yes, guys, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel and leave a comment. I'll greatly appreciate it. We got 25 likes and 24 people in the building, so I appreciate you guys for hitting the like button. As you're coming in, if you haven't hit the like button, please do it for me. I'll appreciate it. And let's continue. All right, this is a developing story.
11 years old, but that's still speculation right now.
Well, 11 would be just unbearable. 12 isn't any better, and 13 is awful as well. But I do think about that little moment in the chat room, Celeste in here, and that was so early in the fall that it seemed when she answered Bark that there was a familiarity there, that they may have known each other before. And she, of course, her birthday's September 7th, so she would have been 11 just a few weeks prior to that.
Essentially.
Shagun.
Honestly, Fleetwood Cat, essentially, right? At her 11, 12, this guy would have been 17. So think about it. How many 17-year-old boys do you know that are really sitting here attracted to and seeking after and pursuing 11 and 12-year-old girls? Right? It just doesn't add up. When I was young, 17, 18-year-old boys were interested in girls their age and older. Maybe 14, not 14, maybe 15, maybe 16, right, as a 17-year-old. But 11, 12? None of this is normal. This is not a normal age gap. There's not a case that can be made here for Romeo and Juliet. This is just pure disgusting behavior from a grown child who wanted to use somebody else. Yeah, Lana, I'm confused how anybody overlooked any of this information. I mean, it's pretty clear that she was missing, right, to her family and things like that. But how could people just have him around this random girl he met online and not know anything about her? That's the part that's really getting me. And yes, it's gross. Yeah, he could have had a girl his age. I mean, most dudes that age are not looking younger. They're at least not young enough to be their little sister, not 11-year-old or 12-year-old. Like, it's very weird. But we start to get into this conversation that I don't know if people are having anymore with their kids. Right? Are people telling their daughters that a kid that's 4 or 5 years old than you should not be pursuing you? There's something weird about that. Right? A kid who's 6, 7 years old than you, who's pursuing you while you're in middle school and they're in high school about to graduate, that's not normal. Are the girls getting these conversations? Exactly. Joanne says the boys are looking for boobs, not a boy chest. But most girls at that age are shaped like little boys. Yeah, but Brownie, the sad thing is her parents reported her missing every time she went missing. In January, her mom reported her missing. They brought her back. In April, she went missing. They never saw her again. It's one thing if the parents weren't reporting her or if she would go missing frequently and they never did nothing. But it seems like she started going missing when things started getting heavier between her and David. Right? From what we're seeing online. Again, we know the least amount of information. But let's continue.
Missing multiple times. And it's possible that the police brought her back. That's what the teacher says. We're not sure if that's what happened. But when she went missing in February the first time, only to be brought back, then to go missing again in April, that it might have been the police who brought her back the first time. Which, if that's true, I don't know if you agree with me, it would be insanity that this girl was missing for a year and a half in the very place that she was likely brought back from prior.
Yeah, Ashley, this is the thing that kind of boggles my mind. And again, I don't want to be the hardcore, cold journalist that puts a microphone in the faces of the parents. But if your girl, if anyone understands that Lake Elsinore is 78 miles away from Hollywood, how at that age is she getting back and forth to go see this guy, David? Because the Ubers are going to be in the hundreds of dollars. So where was the money coming from? How was she getting back and forth? And if she disappeared and came back, how are you as parents not sending her away to live with relatives? How are you not keeping a closer eye on her? How are you not asking the questions, who's your boyfriend, David?
Let me say this, right? Like people have mentioned, her parents should have done way more probing. But what I'm going to tell you is when a parent is singularly raising a child, right, that burden is falling squarely on her shoulders. Now, from what I have heard, it appears that Celeste only had a mother present in her life. She had nobody else, right? And that mother reported her missing every time she left. So when she left in January, she reported her missing. When she left in April, she reported her missing. Unfortunately, when she left in April, her mother was never to see her again, right? And do I think we should blame the mother? To some degree, right? But at the end of the day, this girl is dismembered and deceased, and it's not her mother's doing, right? We have to look into the guilty person who did this and figure out why and make sure that they pay the consequences. Yeah, she looks like a baby. There's news articles and things that describe her as looking grown. She don't look grown to me. She looks like a baby. 5'1", 70-something pounds. This girl didn't have the shape or figure of a grown woman. She had the body of a child, because that's what she was. If you are just coming in, guys, double tap the screen or hit the dots on the top right corner and hit the like button for sure. Now, Flora, that can't be an excuse on why we are not protecting our young girls. It's definitely not an excuse. But what I'm telling you is that when a parent is left to raise their child alone, that child becomes vulnerable to the world. And that's why a lot of the times I put accountability on people who choose to have children with people that they know are not reliable people, that they shouldn't have trusted. Sometimes I'll even put the blame on those people square more than I would in another case. Because at the end of the day, that one person raising that child is not going to be able to keep up with that one child. They're just not going to be able to. It takes a village to raise a child. So the fact that she's raising that child alone, yeah, that's definitely an excuse on why she might have lost handle on her. She could have been trafficked. P culture is big in LA and they target little girls. Yes, I've heard that for sure. It's very possible. There's also evidence that supposedly was on the mom's Facebook that there were people who were seeing her around town and telling her mom about it. And I guess her mom wasn't paying no attention. Right, so was her filing this missing report, was that just to cover herself? Was mom complicit in this? We just don't know. Too many people failed Celeste. But one thing we know for sure is that there hasn't been a father that has come out and speak out on her behalf. We know her mother did, and we know her siblings spoke out about what has happened to her. All right, let's continue.
Where did you go? What happened? Let's get to the bottom of this.
That guy looks like Shannon Sharp.
1 in 10 kids face.
Go ahead and take this down. All right, so that's kind of the breaking information that has kind of come out about what is going on right now in this case. All right, so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to play the last video that I have for you guys this evening. This video is the video that supposedly it has her teacher talking to her class about what happened, and people say that this is the smoking gun in this case. All right, so we're going to finish off with this video, and maybe we'll go to the last 2 minutes of the law and crime video, and I'll send you guys off before I come back a little bit later for a discussion.
Hollywood, a 15-year-old girl found dead inside a singer's Tesla. Now Fox 11's Gina Silva is digging into their mysterious connection. Gina Silva.
That's her in my classroom in front of...
A teacher is captured on cell phone video telling the students at Celeste RIVAS the 15-year-old girl found dead inside singer David Anthony Burke's Tesla had been his student and that he knew she had run away a couple of times.
So when I taught her, she met this dude on social media. He was a rapper in LA.
TMZ was the first to report on the teacher's comments.
There's certainly photo and video evidence that she was most likely with David. They were hanging out together. It's unclear if this was a romantic relationship.
Rivas' teacher put out a video, and it may be the smoking gun in the case.
Nima Rahmani, president of West Coast Trial Lawyers, says the teacher's claims are damaging because Celeste was only 13 when she first went missing in April 2024. If investigators confirm she ran away with David at that time, he would have been 18.
The mere fact that an 18-year-old is in the presence of a 13-year-old who had run away is not unlawful. But if there's any sexual activity, if there is any force or coercion, that could be kidnapping, that could be rape, that could be trafficking. That's the exposure that David has, setting aside the fact that she's now been found dead.
One day after the medical examiner identified the remains in the Tesla as those of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas, LAPD investigators served a search warrant at David's home in the Hollywood Hills on Wednesday night, seizing electronics and computers. Ironically, David first broke into the music scene in 2022. Romantic Homicide went viral on TikTok. Social media users are now pointing to his music videos, noting that they feature a woman resembling Celeste. There's also one scene showing a body being placed in a trunk.
In terms of incriminating evidence, at this point, it is not clear he did anything wrong. It is his car. This victim is decedent, and he obviously knew each other. They had matching tattoos, but I have not seen anything reported in the media that he was responsible or is responsible for her tragic death.
Former prosecutor, now criminal defense attorney Dimitri Gorin says while the court of public opinion may already believe David was involved in Celeste's death, proving it in court will be far more difficult.
A plausible reason of what happened possibly is that she had access to his car. He travels the world, and somebody, one of her friends, somebody else, harmed her and put her in the car.
David was supposed to perform at the Greek tomorrow night. That has been canceled. In fact, his world tour has been canceled as well. And Christine, authorities are saying that he is being very cooperative. He's helping them with the investigation.
All right, we will continue to follow this one. Gina, thank you. Right.
Stay right here with a little smile.
Singer David, on the brink of major fame.
Can I get that smile back?
The platinum-selling artist with hits like Romantic Homicide. And Here With Me. Embarking on a world tour for his debut album, Withered.
David is a young 20-year-old singer who really is just on the cusp of superstardom. You know, he really got his start because his music went very viral on TikTok. He also was very popular in the video game spectrum from Fortnite.
Now he's at the center of a weeks-long mystery after a severely decomposed body was found in an abandoned Tesla registered to the singer's legal name, David Anthony Burke.
When the body was found, the LAPD didn't know much about it because it was so heavily decomposed, but it was a female who had been around 5'2", they thought, and from what they could tell, around 71 pounds, or that is what was left of the remains. So, I mean, it got really gruesome in that moment because the body had clearly been in that trunk for so long.
The body, that of a young teen named Celeste Rivas, seen in this photo from authorities, who authorities say went missing last year from Lake Elsinore, California.
She was 13 years old when she went missing. She would have been 15 had she been living now, but she'd been missing since last year.
Celeste Rivas' mom talked to TMZ, and she said that her daughter was dating somebody named David. She didn't know who he was, but all of this is going to come into play as the LAPD is trying to understand if there was a relationship between David and Celeste Rivas.
The questions continue to mount. The medical examiner still trying to determine how the teen died. David has not been arrested or charged with any crime and has not issued a public statement since the body was found. ABC News has reached out to David's team for comment and has not heard back.
They're not calling this a murder investigation right now. They don't know necessarily that it was murder. It could have been something else, like an accident or an overdose, and that the body was disposed of improperly. They don't know.
When the news first broke on September 9th, David was nearly 2,000 miles away in Minneapolis on tour.
David went on stage and performed that night and didn't acknowledge anything that happened. I think that appeared to be a little bit offsetting for people.
Late last week, Los Angeles police searching a home in Hollywood Hills that the singer was staying at, removing several items, including a computer. Neighbors saying the Tesla had been parked in front of the home for a while before moving to two different places on the street.
It's a little weird to see a car that I haven't seen here for a long time. It had a big dent on it, had a Texas plate on it. So all a little odd, but at the same time, you know, people could be hanging out with friends for, you know, for a long time.
It was banged up and kept moving from one place to other place within a couple of blocks from here.
The body discovered after the Tesla was impounded and taken to this tow yard for 2 days before workers noticing an odor coming from the front trunk.
There was one real identifying feature that was on the human remains that was left behind, and that was a tattoo on the right index finger on the inside that read, "Shh." David has that exact same tattoo on his right index finger, as do other celebrities. Rihanna apparently made this popular. This tattoo is not incriminating yet, and the LAPD doesn't even know if the tattoo will come into play in all of this.
The singer canceling the rest of his domestic tour after Celeste's identity was released.
The repercussions that David is facing right now is in a court of public opinion. His label has paused all the promotion.
These past few months have been full of big milestones for David, from performing at Coachella to appearing on late-night shows like Colbert.
What do you have in store? One life away, we can't explore.
He reflected on his blossoming career to Lindsay Davis last year.
Success has kind of been quite literally overnight, so it's kind of hard to kind of be in the moment sometimes, but I'm just taking it in slowly, appreciating.
David has had some pretty significant moments in the last year. He also had a mainstream branding deal with Hollister and Crocs, which is colossal.
The brands telling Footwear News, we have removed the campaign content featuring David while the investigation continues. Some of the artists who he's collaborated with, like Kali Uchis, also taking action. The singer saying she's in the process of pulling down their song, Crashing. David's lyrics to Romantic Homicide now being re-examined and
now
dissected
here's
online.
what I'll say. A lot of this information, oh, did it go past that? My bad, y'all. Did I go past the video I was trying to watch? I had it.
Helping out new details following a grisly discovery in Hollywood.
It definitely went past, guys. I'm over here reading something thinking the video was still going. But yes, we don't know a lot of information about her teacher, right? We don't know what information he provided to police. We don't even know where that teacher's from. All we see so far is a video of him talking about it. Now, her being from the Hollywood Hills or Hollywood Hills area, right? I'm sure that the police are still investigating. A-Dub asked if I only go live on Vertical. No, I go live on both. Now, one thing I will tell you, A-Dub, is I haven't gone live on regular stream in a long time. Because as I started doing crime, because of the TV style stream, like I get a different audience. So I've been doing a lot of vertical live streams, but I've been wanting to do a regular live stream to have a panel and debate some different topics as well. So definitely planning on doing that soon. Why is he still free? Because this just happened, right? There's still a lot of only circumstantial evidence. Once the DNA evidence comes back, and once the evidence like that the police have that is official and not obvious and not available to the public yet, once that information has been analyzed and processed by the police, we will know more, right? But right now, somebody of his stature is going to be free because the police have to prove their case. When you know that the defendant has a good lawyer, you're not just going to run in there ready to throw the book at them, right? You have to come correct. The problem with a really good defense attorney like we saw is they will change the narrative. They will make the crime and the devastation about the perpetrator versus the victim. And so with this case, I've seen a lot of things. I've seen somebody saying, oh, there was another woman, another girl, because Celeste was a girl, but there was another girl like Celeste, looked just like her, but was older. And that's who he was really dealing with. It wasn't her. I mean, it's just so much ridiculousness. But I remembered it can't be clicked on vertical. I mean, you can drop my link. It's not going to be a link to the live stream because at the end of the day, I haven't put out a link for people to join the stream. But you can definitely drop my link if people want to view the other video that I talked about, the original one. If any of the mods have a moment to drop that link in the chat, that'll be helpful. The first video where I talked about this, and that was when we first heard about Celeste and what had happened to her, her age in relation to this weirdo. And I'm going to tell you this. There's a lot of girls out there that don't realize that they're being preyed on. And because of that, cases like this have to go viral. We have to keep talking about what is happening to girls like Celeste because these predators are certainly not letting up anytime soon. Right? They're going to continue to seek out teenage girls and victims and people who are vulnerable to them. And so we have to prepare our loved ones to not be vulnerable or not be caught in the webs of the likes of this individual. All right, so that's all I got for you guys today. If you guys can do me a favor and hit the like button, share, and subscribe, I would greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate that. I appreciate everyone who's here with me today. So if you'd like to need 3 ghosts to double tap the screen or hit the dots on the top right corner and hit the like button. Yes, if some ghosts can do me that favor while I play this music and send you guys off, I would appreciate it. M. Valdez says David is innocent. You must be him. You got a weird ass anime. You must be David. Are you David? Are you David? The world knows that you are guilty. I've received some very strange comments and things in my streams I've had to remove from some weirdos, right? I wonder if David has been coming in here and saying some of those weird things. But no, he's not innocent. And yes, don't forget to subscribe to me. I would appreciate it. Oh, you know what, AW, you're right. You can't click a link from the chat. So putting a link in this chat is pointless. You're right about that. I forgot. You're actually correct. But I will send you guys off with some music. Hopefully you enjoyed this stream about Celeste. And hopefully sometime soon we can hear some good news about her, the leader, being brought to justice. All right, so I'll send you guys off with a song, and I'll see you on the next one.
Flora Bella on my screen. Her smile is shone so bright. She's a queen with every scene. In the morning or the night, recipes and good vibes flow. Every video a gem. Her confidence, it grows and grows. We're inspired like her friends. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power. Spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where we all belong. With every like and every share, we feel her energy. No storm too strong, she can't bear. She's setting us all free. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power. Spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Recipes and good vibes flow. Every video a gem. Her confidence, it grows and grows. We're inspired like her friends. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power. Spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where we all belong. With every like and every share, we feel her energy. No storm too strong, she can't bear. She's setting us all free. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power. Spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where